relating to moisture retention. So I'm just going to answer those. And if you ladies have any other question regarding breakage or moisture retention, let me know. Oh, and by the way, how is the challenge going so far? Because right now we're at the halfway point, right? So how is the challenge going so far? For me, usually moisturizing my hair, I'm usually lazy about it, but for some reason during this challenge I've actually been more diligent with it, and it's actually been quite easy. Like it doesn't take that much time, and it's almost like a habit now, right? Whereas before, maybe a few times a week I would moisturize my hair. Now, I moisturize my hair pretty much every day, sometimes twice in a day, depending on the hairstyle that I have on. So this hairstyle gets dry very quickly, so meaning that I might need to moisturize my hair in the morning and in the evening when I come back home, right? And I've been noticing some changes or difference in my hair regarding breakage, especially because I get less breakage, and just fewer hair loss, right? So let me know, how's the challenge going for you so far. So just let me know in the comment section. All right, so the first question that I received on my Instagram page came from Afua, right? And so she asked, how do I keep my ends moisturized in twists? My hair will always come out soft, but the ends are dry and puffy. Oh, nice, yeah, yeah. So moisturizing every day at the beginning, it'll feel like a lot of work, but eventually it'll become a habit. It's almost like taking a shower or putting on lotion every day, right? Because obviously, showering every morning and putting on lotion takes time, right? But now to you it's nothing, right? Because it's something that you've always done, and it's something that you always create time for. Or even brushing your teeth, right? Because you won't step out the door without brushing your teeth, even though you might be running late, right? But you still make sure that you brush your teeth and you take a shower, right? So it's almost the same thing with your hair, right? You just somehow create the time for it, and then eventually it'll become a habit and something that you just feel like you have to do it before stepping out of the house, right? So eventually it'll become a habit, and then it's not gonna feel like a lot of work anymore, right? Hi Knox, thank you for joining us. Okay, so I'm just about to answer the first question that I received from Afua over on my Instagram page. And so she asked about keeping her ends moisturized while it's in twists, right? Because she said my hair always come out soft, right? But the ends are dry and puffy, right? Dry and puffy. So, Afua, to answer your question, right, your ends probably needs to be trimmed, period, right? So the reason why they're dry, constantly dry and puffy, is because you have fewer cuticle layers, right? So that's a little bit of a science, and I talked a lot more about it in my premium course. Hi, Cecilia. Thank you for joining us live. So I'm just answering the first question about how to keep your ends moisturized while it's in twist, right? So what happens is that your ends will lose cuticle layers, right, as it grows further away from your scalp, right? And as a result of that, the cortex, right, which is inside the cuticles, will be exposed, right? And once it's exposed, there's really nothing we can do about it, right, except to trim those ends, right? So the reason why your ends are always dry and why it's puffy is because you need to get rid of them, right? So just trim those ends off, right? And the other thing you can do is to moisturize your ends. So usually for me, when I'm moisturizing my hair, usually I'll just grab my hair like this, and then I'll start from my ends, and then I'll just put the product on the rest of my hair, and then I'll twist, right? So usually that's what I would do. So I always make sure that my ends will receive some hair products, right? But then it seems like your ends are damaged and they need to be trimmed. So I'll just say, go to a salon, a natural hair salon, and get those ends trimmed, and you will notice the difference after you've trimmed it. But then moving forward, right, you want to make sure that when you moisturize your hair, you start from the ends, and then you work gradually down the roots of your hair, right? Okay, so the next question that I received was from Loving Me at Last, and she said, okay, so her question is a little bit long, so I'm just gonna read through it, and then I'll just answer it, line by line. So she said, my hair always feel dry no matter what. Within 2 hours after moisturizing using the lock method, sometimes LCO, so LOC or LCO, it feels dry and brittle, right? So which is why the title of this live video is about dry brittle hair, right? And I've been natural for over 7 years now, and I only have 8 to 10 inches of fine low density hair. I need help with my edges as well. I don't use heat. I finger detangle and I deep condition weekly. I wear wigs when I'm outside 95% of the time because my edges are thin and bald. And my hair is too fragile to style. Please help. Okay, so it looks like Loving Me at Last has a few hair issues, right? So one is with moisture retention, and the other one is about the edges, and also breakage, and finally just mainly her hair texture, right? So it looks like she has fine hair and low density hair, right? So again, that's a little bit of hair science, which we don't have time to talk about today, but I do have a module on hair science in my premium program, and I actually have an ebook about just the basic of black hair science, right? So Loving Me at Last. So it looks like you're doing everything right? So you do protective styling with a wig, although I will recommend wearing wigs less, right? Wear wigs less, right? Uh, okay, so I'm not sure if I got that question, but I'm gonna go over it after the video. Okay, so one thing that I usually recommend to ladies with bald edges is to try not to wear wigs too often, right? Because I think the reason why you have to wear wigs is because you don't have a lot of hair on your edges, and your edges are currently bald, right? But at the same time, the wigs are actually getting in the way of your edges, to actually grow out, right? Because most wigs are usually very tight, right? Because obviously the wig has to stay put on the head, right? So it doesn't fall off, right? And usually your edges, right? They're usually, they're restricted, right, from growing out, right? Because for me, when I wear wigs, which is very rare, when I wear wigs, like usually I get headaches, right? Because my edges feels so tight and it feels suffocated, like I can't breathe, right? So maybe you can go for at least 3 4 weeks without wearing a wig, right? So maybe one thing you can do would be to do single braids, right? Do single braids, and then to hide those edges, you can just pack your hair facing this way, right? So at least your edges will be covered, right? But then again, though, like I don't really know what your hair looks like right now, because I know some ladies have really, 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 really bad edges that it's almost impossible to cover, right, with braids or with anything else, and so they have to wear wigs or wrap their hair, right? Or another style you can do is crochet, right? So you're just gonna crochet your hair with like kinky hair or afro hair, and then just make sure that it covers the edges, right? So if you can, as much as possible, maybe go 30 days without wearing wigs, right? And then in those 30 days, I know a lot of ladies will use JBCO, so Jamaican black castor oil, and they will just rub it on their edges every night and sometimes in the morning, right? So 2 times a day they will just apply, the JBCO, like on their on their edges every morning and at night, and then they will do that for for a few weeks until their hair grows out, right? So maybe ditch the wig for now, wig and even weaves as well, right? So ditch those, especially wigs, right? Because the wigs, it's like, it's almost like this headband, right? So can you imagine if I have this headband sitting in the same place, right? Like 7 days a week for like 8 to 10 hours every single day, right? Obviously, the hair, on that hairline will not grow out, right? Because obviously the new growth that's supposed to come out cannot come out, right? Because of the band that I have on it, right? But when I take it out, right, then the scalp area has more freedom. It can, it can receive fresh air, nutrient, moisture, and be able to flourish and thrive, right? So maybe ditch the wig for at least 30 days, and use Jamaican black castor oil and to massage your edges, right, every night. And so yeah, so regarding the growth as well, right? So 8 to 10 inches of hair within 7 years, right? So yeah, so the reason for that is because again your hair is breaking, right? So your hair, it's probably breaking at the same rate that it's growing, and the reason for that is that you have fine hair and low density hair, right? So for me as well, like I get a lot of breakage as well because I have fine hair and I also have coarse hair, right? So fine and those coarse hair, they're usually in competition with each other, right? Like like the coarse hair needs more space, whereas the fine hair, it's so fragile. It wraps around the coarse hair, right? So my hair gets tangled, and when it's tangled or it has knot in it, then it breaks up very easily, right? So, but in your case, you have fine hair, right? And it looks like you deep condition and you finger detangled every week. So I'm gonna say, rather than washing your hair every week, maybe do it every 2 weeks, right? Because even though the 30 days challenge is for ladies to to just get into the habit of spending more time on their hair, but sometimes depending on your hair texture, your regimen might be different, right? So rather than washing your hair every week, maybe do it every 2 weeks, right? So at least that way your hair can stay put, right? So for example, with my hair, right? So let's say like I just leave it in a bun, right, for 2 weeks. Well, which for me it's almost impossible to leave my hair for 2 weeks because I get bored. But let's say your hair stays in one place, like let's say two strand twist, right? Because that's the approved hairstyle for the challenge, two strand twist, right? You keep it in two strand twist for a week or 2 weeks, right? Versus you keep it in two strand twist for just 1 week at a time, right? Now, which hair will retain length faster, right? Obviously, hair that's been left in the same style for 2 weeks, right? Not just 1 week, right? Because with fine hair, right, it's really fine. It'll break off very easily compared to coarse hair, especially if it's fine hair, which is dry, right? So yeah, so you want to make sure that your regimen is a little bit different from everyone else's regimen, right? And also for you, in your case, you might actually be better off putting your hair in braids or in some sort of an hair extension, right? So at least that way your hair has more strength, right? It has more strength. And let's see, edges. My hair, yeah. So to the edges. So like I said, so just go buy Jamaican black castor oil, or you can also buy wild growth oil, right? Wild growth oil. So just check it out on Amazon, and then again, just just apply it on your scalp every evening, right? Every evening, just massage it, and then just do that for some ladies, within a week the edges start growing back. For some ladies it takes a few weeks, right, for the edges to start growing back. And you also want to make sure that at the same time, whatever hairstyle that you do, make sure that your the style is not tight, right? So you want to make sure that the hairstyle is loose, right? Which is the reason why I recommend not wearing wigs at all, because wigs are always tight and it'll restrict the new growth from growing, and even take off any growth that's trying to come out of your scalp. Okay, so I believe I've answered the questions that I received from my Instagram page. I'm just gonna hop on over to the Facebook page because I want to keep the webinar under 40 minutes. Okay, so over on my Facebook group, so Lizzie asked me, so she said, my natural hair is breaking a lot. What is the reason why? So actually, the main reason actually is simply because your hair is dry, right? Your hair is dry and you're probably not treating it the way you should treat natural hair, right? So if you have natural hair and you're still treating it the same way you were treating your relaxed hair, right, then it's gonna break, right? So what do I mean by this? So with your relaxed hair, when you had relaxed hair, you probably only shampooed, you didn't deep condition or use a leave-in conditioner, you just shampooed your hair and you want to go style it. When you have relaxed hair, you probably brush through your hair every single day. But with natural hair, you don't need to comb your hair every single day, right? Maybe once a week maximum for me, and it's usually just once a month, that's it. When you had relaxed hair, you probably didn't do much in your hair because it was straight and easy to care for. But with your natural hair, you need more time to care for it, right? So so mainly the reason why your hair is breaking is mainly because it's dry and you're probably neglecting it, right? Because natural hair, you cannot neglect natural hair, right? So for example, in December around Christmas break, I went to the salon and I got my hair heat straightened, right? And then for the 2 weeks that I had the style on my hair, I couldn't really do much on my hair. I couldn't change up styles because my hair was so straight and silky. I was a little bit restricted with styles. I couldn't moisturize my hair except from just use coconut oil to keep my hair lubricated, right? So I had easy hair, right? But when my hair went back to its natural state, right, I had to, spend a little bit more time with it. And like I said earlier, eventually it becomes a routine, it becomes a habit. It's almost like, brushing your teeth every morning or showering every morning, because you never go, I'm running late for work, or I woke up late, so I'm just gonna go to work in my pajamas. No, like you're gonna make the time to change out of your pajamas, probably take a shower, brush your teeth, wear clean clothes and head out. Even if it means going late to work, right? Because eventually it just becomes something that you do, all the time, right? So, and then the next question doesn't really have much to do with moisture retention, but let me just tackle it quickly. So, Ferdows asked, I use pink oil a lot, and I used to use pink oil as well. But someone recently told me that it's not healthy for your hair. Is that true? And what can I do to substitute, as for my pink oil? I think I'm a little bit tired today. Okay, so simply, so if the pink oil is working for your hair, I'll just say keep using it. But if it's not doing what it's supposed to do, meaning if it's the wrong product, then that's when you have to substitute it for a leave-in conditioner. Right now, there are many good leave-in conditioners out there. There's the TGIM brand, there's the Alike brand, there's the Oyin Natural, Oyin. Handmade, there's Alike Naturals, there is the Main Choice, there's quite a few out there, and I actually have a blog post about top 5 leave-in conditioners to use in your hair. Okay, so then the final question, and if you ladies have any other question, just type it in the comment section and then I'll go back and reiterate. Okay, so the final question is from Theo. So Theo asks, how do I keep my hair moist and clean at the same time? Is washing it once a week enough, or can I wash it every 2 or 3 days, yet not rubbing my hair of its natural oils? Um, Okay, so how do I keep my hair moist and clean at the same time? So clean, that's pretty much when you would shampoo your hair. So usually for this challenge, we're shampooing our hair every week, right? So once you shampoo your hair should stay clean, right? And how do I keep it moist? Keeping it moist is just about doing a weekly deep conditioning treatment with a moisturizing deep conditioning treatment, and then we would alternate every week with a protein-based deep conditioning treatment. But regarding to your question about keeping it moist, so it's about using a moisturizing leave-in conditioner, right? So meaning a conditioner that leaves your hair soft, right? So now there's a difference between soft and moist, right? Because there was a time where my hair would actually stay moist, and that was when I was using hair gel in my hair, right? But I actually didn't like that feeling, because when your hair feels too too mushy, it'll break off, right? Because it's wet, and our hair gets feels really weak when it's wet, right? So it'll break off, and your hair will just feel um, very weird, I would say, right? So as long as your hair is moist, or if it's clean, right, then it should be able to receive moisture, right, at at a normal rate. But if your hair feels dirty because it has loads of products on it, then sometimes it can be hard for your hair to retain moisture, right? So, and the next question is, washing my hair once a week, is it enough, or should I wash it every 2 or 3 days? So washing it once a week, I think that is perfect. Every 2 or 3 days, it's absolutely not necessary, unless you maybe work outdoors and it's really dusty, or you sweat a lot, and then in that case, I would say maybe just use a leave-in conditioner. I mean a conditioner to wash your hair, right? So you're just gonna do a cool wash. That's it, right? But then again, it depends sometimes on your hair texture and your hair length, right? So for me right now, maybe when I had a TWA, then I could wash my hair every 2 or 3 days. But now I no longer have a TWA, and my hair, like I said, gets tangled a lot, right? So I try not to wash my hair more than once or twice a week if I'm gonna be doing a co-wash, right? Because obviously natural hair takes longer, right? And I don't have the time every 2 or 3 days to spend 1 hour trying to wash my hair and get it detangled, unless unless I have twist in my hair and I'm just co-washing it, then it's very easy, very quick. I just wash it and then put a leave-in conditioner. But if it's loose, right, then obviously it's a different game, right? Okay, so I believe I've answered all your questions. So I'm just gonna go through the comments that I've received so far, and then we will call it a day. Okay. Okay, so that I still have some issues with breakage. Yeah, so breakage, it's not something you can actually stop, but you can minimize it. But moisturizing is a lot of work, but my scalp feels happy. So that is the main point of it. Lovely Mitiel. So lovely Mitiel, I don't really understand your comment. So if you could please send pictures. Uh, when I say I'm a little natural, yeah, so I'm a little natural as well, which is the reason why a lot of the tips that I recommend might be a little bit different from what you ladies are used to, because I don't have the time that I used to have, just to spend it on my hair. So most times I just recommend simple natural hair tips, so that at least that way it's more accessible to a lot of ladies, and the natural hair doesn't feel like a lot of work, because a lot of women think, we think natural hair takes a lot of time, it's a lot of work, which when you compare it to relaxed hair, yeah, it is. When you had relaxed hair, like I said, you probably didn't even do much to your hair, right? You probably didn't do much to your hair. But now that your hair is kinky, right? It's gonna need a lot of work, right? So it's almost like when you're trying to lose weight, right? Like gaining weight, you know, it's really easy to gain weight, right? But then when it's time to lose it, right, then obviously you need to put in more time trying to lose that weight, right? So now in a very similar way. Okay, so Art Cecilia agree with me regarding your edges and wigs. And Bia Bro said, yeah, so regarding the symptom as well, that makes so much sense. But how protective are wigs then? Okay, so how protective are wigs, right? So again, I actually have, I think, three or four series of blog posts regarding protective styling. So when is protective styling protective, and when is protective styling not protective, right? So in, let's say, my case, right, even though, like I said, like I'm not a fan of wigs, because I do have maybe 1 or 2 weeks, but I'm just not a fan of wigs. So wigs are protective, let's say, in the winter time, for example, right? It's really cold and you just don't feel like getting your hair braided or cornrowed, or you actually need to maybe deep condition your hair every week or every 2 weeks, right? So at least that way with a wig, it's easier to do, right? Compared to if you have cornrows in your hair or braids, right? And obviously you can really, get that, deep conditioning effect, right? So a lot of women will wear wigs in the winter time to be able to preserve their hair and grow it, right? And also the wigs also, also I know a lot of ladies would make their own wigs, right? So custom wigs, right? Because sometimes when you get wigs from the beauty supply store, sometimes it feels really, really, really tight and really uncomfortable, and you get a lot of headache, right? You get a lot of headache, right? So um let's see. So as long as the wig isn't too tight, it's not too comfortable, and also you're taking care of your hair underneath, right? Because I know some ladies would wear wigs and they, like they would cornrow their hair, and then just leave that hair for 2 months, or 6 weeks or whatever, without washing it, moisturizing it, caring for it, or even worse, right? Some ladies sometimes would wash their hair and put on a wig right afterwards without waiting for the hair to actually dry out, right? So sometimes, you can get mold, right? Mold, or get stinky, or it just feels really uncomfortable, right? So wigs mainly, right? Wigs or extensions in general, right? So I usually recommend extensions or wigs or even weaves to ladies who already know how to care for their hair, right? So if you're still a beginner in the natural hair community or whatever, right, then please try as much as possible to stay away from wigs and weaves, even braids, right? But once you've mastered your hair, like the best regimen for it, the best product for it, you know what your hair likes, what it doesn't like, then you can use wigs and still be able to keep your edges, right? Or wear weaves and still have healthy hair, right? As long as the styles are not uncomfortable, right? Because if you are uncomfortable, right, it means that your body obviously is uncomfortable, right? And if your body is uncomfortable, obviously it's not gonna be able to produce the way it's supposed to, produce like new growth, or just circulate blood, or or even receive nutrients, right, from the environment, right? So let's see. So Bia bro, okay. So thank you so much for putting so much out into natural hair. You're such a blessing. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Bia bro, for that compliment. Okay, all right. So I believe that's it for today's webinar, because I just wanted to come on here and take some Q&As rather than teaching new content. Okay, so if you ladies don't have any other question, thank you for watching me live. And actually, starting from next week, so next week I haven't decided on the date yet. So starting from next week, I'm gonna come back on here to talk more about moisture retention and about an upcoming program that I'm working on right now that would help you ladies to, to understand your natural hair better, right? So it's a it's a course, right? Because obviously, you need to learn about your natural hair from A to Z. Because right now, like I talk about maybe D one week, and then following week I'm talking about I, and then following week I'm talking about K, and then following week I'm talking about W, right? But at least with the premium course, there's a plan to it, right? So you learn the science of your hair. You learn about the reason why you have breakage, dry hair, um, short hair while your hair is not growing, your edges, just basic things you need to know so that the next time you're watching a YouTube video or you're reading a blog post, you're able to apply it, to your hair and then see results, right? Because I believe that's what a lot of us are looking for, rather than spending more money on hair products that might not give us the results we're looking for. So starting from next week, I will be releasing more details about that program and how you ladies can get access to the program. Okay, so for anybody that's gonna be watching me live, if you have any other question, just leave it in the comment section below, and I'll see you ladies in your inbox on Monday morning or even earlier if I have anything else to send out. All right, thank you for joining me live, and have a nice day and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye bye.